everybody? It's Eric Matta. We're back at it again. I know it's been a minute, but it feels good to be back in the studio. I got a special guest on today, my man Roderick. He's going to be talking about his podcast that he's about to be launching. So I just wanted to get on here and kind of interview him a little bit, like what went through his mind as he was formulating these ideas and his process and his experience with getting this podcast up and running. So we really don't even know each other that well. So I'm looking forward to interviewing him. Asking him some good questions. We happen to work right around the block from each other. So, Roderick, give us an introduction, man. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, like you said, my name is Roderick Pierce, but everyone just calls me Rod. So, feel free to just call
Rod
me
it
Rod.
is.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah. I'm originally from Cincinnati, Ohio. I moved here to Springfield maybe about 5 years ago.
Okay.
I met my wife who lived here in Springfield, and it was easier for me to move to Springfield as opposed to her moving to Cincinnati.
You compromised then, huh?
I like to say I punked out.
There you go.
You know
okay.
what I mean?
Okay.
But it was great. It was great. It was a great move for us. Since I've lived here in Springfield, I met some amazing people.
Yeah.
And I'm proud to say that I live here in Springfield.
That's what's up.
Just like everyone else that I've met here always speaks so highly of their city.
Yeah.
And it's great to be a part of it.
We was talking a little bit before we got started, talking about the church that he went to. He said he knows Rob Rue. Everybody knows Rob Rue, so
yeah, man, he's a great guy. He's a great guy. I tell you what, he's doing so many things behind the scenes to really help improve and expand the city of Springfield.
Good dude, all the way around.
Yeah, absolutely.
Look out for anybody.
Right, absolutely.
Yep.
Absolutely. And he'll give you the shirt off his back if you need it.
Absolutely.
And it's good to know that there's people like that still in the world right now.
Yes, sir.
So
yes, sir.
Rob is a great guy.
So
great
work
guy.
and church, you live in Springfield, you've been out here 5 years. What do you do out? I mean, what type of you plugged in anything else out here? What do you do for fun?
For fun, man, I tell you what, I'm really, I'm a homebody.
Right.
You know what I mean? I like to kick it at home an awful lot, but when I go out, I'm one of these guys. There's nothing like a good sporting event, football, basketball. I love track and field, but I tell you what, man, I love basketball. I'm a basketball coach. I even had the opportunity to coach some of our kids here at Springfield High.
Okay. Good deal.
I was on the staff with Danny Davis when he was playing there. Danny Davis, Michael McKay, kids like that who are now going on. Danny's at University of Wisconsin. Michael's still pushing his way through the ranks as well, doing some good things. And so for me, just coaching and doing that, I'm actually in the process of bringing a prep school here to Springfield in the greater Springfield area,
That's
Southwest Ohio area. To where we can do some things to help benefit the community here in Springfield. We always say we want to take care of Springfield first and then everywhere else. I just need to be able to get our people here in Springfield to recognize what we're doing, who we are, and realize that we're a viable option for the kids in our community.
Right.
So, there's things that we'll put out about that here in the near future.
Coming soon.
Yeah, coming soon. Coming soon. We supposed to be opening up in August. We'll have the guys moving in August and everything. And, we'll be getting after it. So we'll be putting things out there for everybody to see.
Good deal. What was it like for you moving to Springfield from Cincinnati? How old are you?
I'm 41.
41. So you were born and raised in Cincinnati?
I wouldn't say I was actually born in the Netherlands. I'm a product of man. Right, exactly, right. Yeah, I'm a product of I'm a military brat.
Okay.
Product of two Air Force airmen, and my mother and father they met while they were stationed in New Mexico, and they got stationed out to I forget the Air Force base there, but it was in Utrecht, Holland, Utrecht, Netherlands.
Wow.
And man, I was born there, and came back over to the States with my mom, and then me, my sisters. I have two sisters; they're twins. One of which was supposed to be here with us today, but we're gonna keep that quiet.
We'll get into that.
We'll get into that, right?
Yeah.
But we were able to kind of see some things at a young age. I lived in Spain.
Wow.
Been to Germany. Now I don't remember a lot of Germany, but I remember a lot of Spain. Spain was a beautiful country. So kind of like that, man. And
How much
but
time you spend in Cincinnati?
now that I always say, when you graduate, wherever you graduate from high school, that's where you really have to claim.
Okay.
So I spent a lot of time. I graduated from Princeton High School in Cincinnati. So I was in Cincinnati the majority of my life. So raised, yes. Born, no, but raised, yes.
Okay.
So yeah.
What was it like for you living your life in Cincinnati and then moving up here to Springfield? Like, what would you say is the biggest difference between like living in Cincinnati, living in Springfield?
That's a great question. And the biggest thing that it came about, at least in my opinion, was speed. Things in Cincinnati kind of move really quickly. Not like a Chicago, Atlanta, or New York, but traffic here in Springfield compared to traffic in Cincinnati is two totally different things.
Different
right?
ball game, huh?
Yeah, it's different ball game, and man, it's like, uh, it was really just a change of pace. It helped me really slow down a lot. In Cincinnati, I was on the go a lot. And when I came here to Springfield, I tried to have that same on the go mentality.
Yep.
And it was funny. My wife was like, you know what? You need to slow down a little bit. Right? So
sounds like you got a good wife right there.
Yeah. Man, I got a great wife.
Bruce
great
Wellman says hi.
Pastor Bruce, what's up, baby? What's up, man? That's my man.
I can already. He's plugged in.
That's my man.
We didn't even know each other. It's crazy how we met, but I can tell. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
Pastor Bruce, man.
So you say the speed then, huh?
Yeah, the speed. It was definitely the speed.
So with your podcast, you want to call it The Block. That's the name of it, right?
Absolutely.
So I'm making an assumption here that you've probably been somewhat connected to the block, to the street life.
Yeah. I mean, let me tell you, man. And it's not that I was, I'm not gonna sit here and say that I was some thug or gangster or anything like that. No, I was not that. I had a good family structure, but as a young man, as a teenager, I've done things, just like anyone has. And so I've seen a lot. And one of the things that I learned in everything was coming from the block, hanging out with the older guys on the block.
Yep.
I learned a lot of things from being out there on the block, walking around, talking to people, and just hanging out. You learn things, going to the basketball court. The block really is wherever you're at. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The block could be on your front steps, on your porch, if that's where you at. That's where you're going to learn something from, just by watching, observing. So the whole concept of the block is just, where we are, that's the block. Where you going out? Where you going tonight, man? I'm going to the block.
Okay.
Just hang out. You know what I mean? Sit down, talk to the guys, chit chat, talk about what's going on in the world, hang out, have a laugh or two, but also politics. So, that's why we want to call it the block.
Okay, I like it. Tell me, how long you been married?
Man, I've been married going on 5 years.
5 years? How'd you meet your wife?
Man, if I told you, you wouldn't believe it.
Let's hear it. Come on. You've shot Netherlands, Spain. Let's hear it.
So, I met my wife through a dating app.
A dating app?
Yeah, and it was crazy how it happened. So I have a cousin who is a very introverted person, and she asked me to just kind of check out this dating app for her and report back.
Okay.
So, I report back, hey, it's all right, yada, yada, whatever, right? And
found you a couple matches in between time.
Yeah,
huh?
Well, and the thing was, I really wasn't looking for anything at the time, but I was just on there one day, and it was funny because I was in Florida on a job interview because a coaching position popped up at a school in Florida, and I went for it. And I was sitting in my hotel room, and the app went off, and I'm like, oh yeah. I looked, and I'm like, oh wow, she's gorgeous.
Okay.
Right? And, just like, ooh, And so, it was funny because she actually sent me a message like, hey, how you doing? And I responded, I'm doing well. How about yourself? She said, good, I'm doing good, And mind you, I've had other conversations with other ladies on that app, and it would always end at that. But this time, after it was, how you doing, it's, so what are you up to?
Right.
It was a conversation that got started. And I'm like, whoa, someone actually wants to have a conversation. So, I'm in Florida on the interview, and I tell you what.
So she lived in Cincinnati, you were in Florida?
No, I was in Florida. She was in Springfield.
Oh, okay. That's right. Okay.
And so, we sparked up that conversation, man. And I like to tell people all the time that conversation is still going.
Yeah.
And it's one of those things where, you know, we're just like a lot of couples where we have our good days and bad days, but at the same time, that conversation is still going. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I tell you what, she has my back like none other.
That's what's up.
She supports everything I want to do, even if it's crazy.
You gonna have her on the show?
Ooh.
She supports everything I want to do. That was your.
I tell you what, I can see her calling in. But
Okay,
having her on the show,
time will tell. Huh?
Yeah, time will tell. We'll see.
That's good.
But yeah, man, she's a jewel. I've been very fortunate, very blessed to have her in my life, and there's no other partner that I could feasibly see being with me. No one else will be able to put up with me the way that she does. So.
Yep. Good deal, man. Well, in my book, you are a good dude. We know we got
bro.
mutually good people. I can tell your heart is pure. That's, you can never judge a book by the cover. You know what I'm saying? But a 5-10 minute conversation, you can see what somebody's about, see what they've been through, some struggles and stuff. So I appreciate your honesty, my man.
Appreciate it. That's all I'm gonna ever be is truthful.
So we met. So I moved into this office in January, and you had messaged me on Facebook. And you're like, "Hey, man, I want to start a podcast." And I messaged you back like, "All right, come on down, check me out." I'm literally had just moved in, and I was like, "Look, if you want to start a podcast, what I tell you to do?"
Said basically sit down and figure out the skeleton of it.
Yep.
Put it together. Have a concept, have an idea, know what you want to do with it, know what you want to talk about.
Yep.
And it was funny that you said that because, I had that idea. It was already, that seed was already in my spirit, and it came out to be one of those things where it was like, yo, this is what it's gonna be. It's the block. We're gonna call it the block. It's been the block since we talked the first time. And, just sitting there, just kind of jotting down ideas and things like that, that's kind of where you guided me. And that's kind of what, in my opinion, led us up to where we are today.
Absolutely. So from my own experience, like I'm a visionary, right? I have all these ideas, things I want to do, right? But and I start a bunch of stuff. But then when it comes to actually the following through and the commitment, you know what I'm saying? So one thing that I would suggest that you think about is how often do you want to have your show, right?
Absolutely.
Do you want to, like, I run these live shows because I for some reason I like this. A podcast is not designed to be a live show. It can be, it doesn't have to be. So be thinking about, do you want to run, is it a weekly show? Is it a bi-weekly show? Is it once a month? And I've helped people do, it seems like the ones that are staying the most committed are the ones that run once a month, right? They shoot 3 or 4 of them together at a time. Then they got some content kind of put back in the bank, and then they can just roll it out as they want to.
Right. Right. Yeah. And that's one of the things that I've been kind of thinking about and kind of trying to get an idea of where we could really take it. For me, I think one of the driving forces will be, how the people take it.
Yeah.
I'm a very outgoing type person. I want interaction. I want feedback, whether it be good or bad. We'll take the bitter with the sweet.
Right.
I can handle it, but we'll kind of judge where we are. In terms of like what type of feedback we get, maybe off the first 1 or 2 shows. Maybe I was thinking initially a monthly thing to where maybe getting that heightened anticipation for the next one.
Yeah, I like it.
Just to kind of bring it, and when you come with it,
come ready to go.
Yeah, come with it, brother.
Like it.
I mean, come with it. Bring everything you got and go for it. So, that's a possibility.
Good deal. So, what's held you up till this point?
Oh man,
what's been the obstacles?
I tell you what, life kind of can get in the way.
Yeah,
just
maybe,
like with
maybe the coronavirus might have held you up a little bit.
Man, that Rona boy, that coronavirus.
Yeah,
is that what you say?
Yeah.
But that the coronavirus, that kind of held me back. Just because you kind of got to change some things up in your personal life, and then also just having people wanting to come aboard, and then it's like, yo, where you at? It's time to let's get together, talk about things. But like I say, life comes and happens. And I'm sure those same individuals who said they wanted to be a part of it will actually come aboard. it'll be in due time.
Yep.
And that's okay because, you know, one of the things that I've learned is, you know, when life happens, life happens.
Yep.
And, you know, a podcast is fun. You know, it's meant to be fun.
We all got responsibilities, though.
Absolutely. We got responsibilities.
So some other options, you know, of course, I've streamed. You can pull in Skype guests. You can interview folks over the phone, which when it comes down to it, a podcast is a couple people talking, sharing, rapping about whatever it is they want to talk about.
Sure.
So there's many ways to do that. You don't necessarily have to be tied down to this desk or like sitting right next to you or anything like that too. So it's cool to experiment and do some other stuff like that too.
Oh yeah, man, absolutely. And one of the things that I hope we're able to do is we're able to bring in, you know, guest speakers and have people call in and just have a show where, you know, if you got something on your mind and you know you want to share it, come on, share it. Now, what I will say though is if you share it, you know, be willing to accept the feedback. You know, just like for me, if I'm going to come here and sit in front of the people and say something, you know, and they might not necessarily agree with it, I'm going to be willing to accept the feedback, whether that be positive or negative. If it's something I don't want to hear. But I'm always of the belief that even if it's something I don't want to hear, maybe it's something I needed to hear. You know, it's a big thing. You know, there was I took my nephew to a camp at University of West Virginia, and one of the assistant coaches told my nephew, listen to your uncle. He's going to tell you what you need to hear, not what you want to hear. You know what I mean? So, you know, if he can give that advice, I mean, I take it as well. You know, there's times that people tell me things that I don't want to hear, but in the end, it's like, man, it's the best thing for me.
Absolutely.
You know?
Good stuff, man. Good stuff.
Man.
So bigger picture, right? What do you hope to accomplish with a podcast? Like, are you trying to you just trying to tell stories? You trying to just, you know, have a place to chop it up with your friends? Are you like trying to inspire people? What do you hope to accomplish with it?
What I really want to do with the block is everything. I want it to have a life of its own, whether it be, you know, we want to educate people on certain things that some people may not know about, you know, and we want to have people that may, you know, come in as guest speakers and things like that and educate everyone,
right?
Not just myself doing all the talking, right? But we also want to have some fun. You know, we want to keep it lively, fresh. You know, we want to talk about the trends in music. We want to talk about what's going on in the world. You know, the state of the world right now is a trip. You know, it's a lot of prayer that needs to go on with that. But, you know, we want to talk about everything, man. And no subject is off limits, you know, with respect to certain things in terms of we're not going to have you just coming in and just saying anything on the microphone. We're not going to do that. We're not going to do that.
Have you thought about where you're going to host the podcast? Have you checked into like a Libsyn or a Spotify or something like that to figure out where you're going to put it at?
Yeah, you know, I was thinking along the lines of Spotify. I know that's one that I have a few friends who have podcasts, and they kind of gone that route with the Spotify. But I also like the idea of maybe getting it on Apple, you know, and working that grind as well, you know. But we'll kind of put it out there. Time will tell. Yeah, we'll kind of put it out there.
The main thing is what I've learned is just do the next thing.
Absolutely.
Right? Like, because it's so easy to like, oh, we got all these different things to do and all this stuff and all these different topics we want to talk about. Like, what can we do right now that's going to help us move towards our goal? Like, just get up and running, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
It ain't got to be perfect. It ain't got to be you ain't going to get 100,000 listeners first month. You know what I'm saying? It's just about entertaining. It's about having fun. It's about getting the experience with it. So, my process, how I have it set up is I always like to stream through a Facebook Live, and I use the Restream software. So, like right now, I'm streaming to Facebook Live on my New Life production page. I'm streaming to my personal Facebook page.
Right.
I'm streaming to YouTube, and as soon as it's done, it automatically gets pushed over to LinkedIn as well. And then, and at the same time, it automatically gets pushed over to my podcast platform on Spotify.
Right.
So just after we, you know, when we hit go live and we talk and we rap and then we click done, like all that stuff happens automatically.
Yeah.
You know, which is, it's cool because like the problem is like having to, you know, edit the videos and edit the sound and put everything together and put it on all these different that's what takes time. So it's really just building, like you said, the skeleton, the foundation of it up front to where when you got your show going, you can just worry about having fun.
Right.
And not worry about all the back end stuff.
Absolutely. Yep. And that's what we definitely want to do. No matter what, man. I'll tell you, the biggest thing with me is I always want to have fun.
Yeah, man.
You know, You could ask my wife. Sometimes she'll say, man, you want to have too much fun. You don't take nothing too serious. But, at the end of the day, we want this to be refreshing.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Fun, something that everyone looks forward to, where you can come and get a couple laughs in. Who knows, man? You laugh, you get educated,
Yep.
you leave, and you haven't, you feel like you've accomplished something.
Yep.
Your day was worth something. So, that's kind of where we are with it and what we want to do with it.
Yep. So just some action steps, some tactical action steps for anyone who's thinking about starting a podcast or wanting to start one. You need a name, right? You got to have a title of it.
You got to.
You got to have I would suggest having some type of logo, something that's simple, right? It doesn't have to be, you can go to Fiverr.com and pay somebody $10 to draw you up a logo for your podcast, right? You want to know how often you want to run. You want to know, is it going to be a show by yourself? Are you going to have a co-host? Are you guys going to be sitting down in the studio together? You could literally, like, from your phone, you could record a podcast from your phone. A lot of people do that.
Yeah, absolutely.
So it doesn't have to be any long, drawn out, complicated process. Like, use the tools that you have available to you. I just simply share with you how I'm streaming out all this stuff to different places, and regardless of whether a ton of people see it or not, I'm doing it. Right. I'm doing it. And like I said, I'm trying to my goal, what I hope to do is inspire people like you to use the platform for something positive.
Absolutely.
Right. There's so many people out here who are using their platforms for something negative when we really need some direction. We really need some experience. We really need some wisdom.
Come on.
So I'm 32, you're 41. So from the older generation,
Whoa.
From folks who have more experience and wisdom that can pour into the younger folks.
There you go. Yeah.
Because there's so many people out here, not to get on my soapbox or anything like that, but I feel like there's so many people out here who lack purpose in their life, who lack good, orderly direction, right? And the fact is, the folks that are pouring into those folks are bad influences.
That is true.
You know what I'm saying?
That is true.
That's why we get jails that are full. That's why we get, a whole bunch of stuff that's unnecessary. So I think any chance we get to kind of pour into anybody, it doesn't have to be the youth. It doesn't have to be, your family. Like, pour into somebody that you're close to. Give them an opportunity to do good, and most people will.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And the biggest thing, man, it takes one.
Yeah.
I'm learning that more and more, and as I get older, and the more and more people I interact with, it takes just one.
Yep.
If you can affect one person, that impact lasts a lifetime, because that one person goes off and has a family, and now that person can spread that knowledge to their seeds.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely,
it's really like that. Like, one of the things with our prep school that we're bringing is, we always say we want to cultivate the mind, body, and spirit. Right. And we want to cultivate these young men that are going to join our program. And so that way, when they leave us better sons, because better sons turn into what? Better brothers, uncles, but also turn into better husbands.
Better husbands, better fathers, better community, better neighbors, all that stuff.
That's where we want it to be. So that, the way that you saying it is spot on with how, we need society to be right now.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? Is to help each other out. Yep. So,
and you've got a gift, my man. You've got a voice. You got a passion. So I wanted you to come in,
big guy,
and get some experience with, like, sitting down, going live, seeing the camera, seeing the mic, seeing the, all the stuff that's happening. You know what I'm saying? And just to where, like, when you come back, this is what to expect.
Oh, absolutely. And I tell you, man, I really appreciate you, because you put this platform out there for everybody. All you have to do, listen, people, all you have to do is get in contact with this man. Yeah. If you got something to say and you want it out there, get in contact with him. He'll take care of you, because he did it for me. So
I'm excited to see you get up and running, my man. So you got the name, you need the logo, you need the format, you need the hosting site, right? Yeah, where's it going to be? And, like, I think Libsyn.com is like $15 a month to host your podcast.
Okay.
Right? There's some other ways I can show you to set some stuff up, but I mean, it's not cheap. Right. I'm saying it is cheap.
I get you.
It is cheap.
I get you.
It's easy to do, right? So there's really no excuse, folks. So for folks that tuned in, I appreciate it. So this was the introductory episode to Rod. He's going to have his podcast, The Block, right? So he's going to be sharing his story, bringing on his people, telling good stuff, and hopefully trying to, like you said, have some fun.
Have some fun with it, man.
Appreciate you, my man.
You know it. Absolutely.
All right, folks. Have a good one. Talk to you later.
Peace.